Okay.
Hopefully it's mutual.
And then I want to acknowledge some really important people without whom we can't do this. In the back is Richard Diaz. He's our kind of IT person, AV person, just your do-it-all person, you know, so he's here to really facilitate any needs you have. Daisy is an undergrad here, also assisting in that capacity. And then we have 3 members of my team here. Janaka Ranasingasagar, he's done a lot of work in electromagnetic wave propagation as well as Monte Carlo for various biomedical applications. Lisa Malenfant, Lisa Glover, sorry, excuse me, thank you. Lisa just got married a few weeks ago, so I'm getting used to her new surname. So sorry about that, Lisa.
That's okay.
So a big part of this course is in the afternoons we'll be doing laboratories, many of which will be virtual, and we've made a commitment to try to make these software resources available broadly, free of cost, and so we have a major open source software effort. And Lisa is, you know, a real professional in managing that effort. And then Carol Hayakawa, probably the longest member of my group. How long have you been working? We've been working
25 years.
25 years. She's trained as an applied mathematician and has great expertise in Monte Carlo methods, as well as the software and computation associated with that and application of that in environmental. So they're a huge resource. If you ask me a tough question, I'm going to ask them. So because they know everything. As I say many times, I'm just the press secretary. I actually don't know anything about the vessel to deliver things that are done by other people. So we're really excited to have you all here. And Brian, shall we get started?
I think so.
Okay.
Can I just add one thing really quick?
Yeah, please, Richard.
So
Sorry.
you might be wondering where Erin Miller is, the person you've all been interacting with this whole time, getting ready. She will be at BLI in the afternoon, so you'll all meet her later today. And if you have any other needs or questions that revolve around the things that she's been helping you with, she'll be there, okay? I'll make sure to grab her so she can introduce herself to you, but she'll probably do it on her own.
Yeah,
She's probably the most important person to you.
definitely.
She's super. Okay, so just by way of background, you know, we've been holding courses in the area. It was first prompted by the development of our virtual photonics technology initiative, which was mostly software based, and this happened probably we started that in like 2014, something like that. But prior to that, a colleague of ours who's no longer with us, sadly, Jerry Spanier. I had the pleasure of working with Jerry starting in 1998, I think. He's actually one of the early pioneers in the development of Monte Carlo methods, and wrote one of the first textbooks in 1969 on Monte Carlo. Sadly, he passed away a few months ago, and really his thinking about biophotonics and a lot of the technical content around modeling and computation are really inspired by him. And I just wanted to kind of dedicate this course to Jerry. One of the things I sometimes do to prepare is to listen to, you know, the old lectures. And, you know, there was Q&A and I heard Jerry's voice and I said, okay, I need to do that. So you probably have never met Jerry, but I just want to tell you how much he means to us. And, you know, we had a wonderful time working with him. And he was very active until maybe a year or so before his passing. He swam every day. He was also an example not only of a scientist but a human being, very kind person, you know, no matter whether it's the custodian in the building or you know, the provost, you know, he's just treated everyone the same way and really loved interacting with students. So he is a person that we aspire to be in many aspects of our lives. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. So let me tell you a little bit about this program and kind of what has motivated the formulation of it. So this course is supported by the NIH. They have these IPERT programs, which are called Integrated Programs for Education, Research, and Training. And our, there's the title of our program that we have support from NIH. All IPERD programs around the country have basically two elements. NIH is very interested in making sure that the US maintains its competitive advantage in the biomedical area. And they want us, all IPERD programs have to offer a course for skills development. And so the ability to conduct rigorous, reproducible research and help the people who are learning to do research successfully transition to careers in the biomedical research workforce. And so the 11 days here is focused primarily on that mission. And they identify kind of three elements that these courses must have. These are required elements. First, what we are normally associated with courses, development of technical skills. Learn about the methods, the technology, and quantitative computational approaches within that domain. But they also want to help you develop independent skills to kind of apply that knowledge in a certain domain. So ability to apply knowledge, to acquire knowledge independently, to design experiments, and to interpret data. So that's also a key element. And then they want you to be productive in, no matter where you go in your next phase, whether it's industry, whether it's a national lab, whether it's in academia. And this will require either being a member of a team, leading a team. As you all know, this field is highly interdisciplinary, so you'll be working in teams that have varied backgrounds. How do you do that well? And there are going to be elements of our course that try to teach or at least expose you to these professional skills to support your success, current now as well as in the future. And then the other thing that all these programs must have is some sort of mentoring element. So to get perspectives on biomedical research training pathway, some of your graduate students may think about doing a postdoc, how to prepare you for your independent professional career, provide tools to overcome challenges, and navigate career transition points. There are many choices. It's both, I remember being a student, it's an exciting time, but it's a very uncertain time. You don't quite know what your future is. It can be a little nerve-wracking at times, even panicky at times, and we understand that. And one element of this course is really to try to link you with people that go beyond your immediate, resources that you have at your institution, so that you can, build a network that can help you get advice from various perspectives. And so there's elements of our program that do that. So these kind of, what I think, 4 elements, kind of the technical skills, operational skills, professional skills, and then the mentoring are really the kind of the 4 key elements of our program. So that's what informs the key components of our program. And so for each of these domains, we have specifically 2 activities or 2 components that support that. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take you through each, segments of this pie. But, words are words, but, we need to somehow have role models or kind of people who kind of exemplify these 4 elements, to kind of round out your full person in terms of a profession. So I always think about the technical skills is that we got to probe your inner Sheldon, if you know from Big Bang Theory, the mastermind, really build your technical skills. This next reference may be a little dated, but once you have all this knowledge, you need to apply it in a situation, maybe under time pressure. And the person who did that is this guy named MacGyver, right? He had this problem and he could jury rig the hardware to solve that immediately. And then, of course, you need mentoring. We want to try to connect you with Yodas in your life that can give you sage advice and give you the right direction. And then, of course, you all are going to be leaders in the field. And so you need to know how to interact with people, manage people, and of course, Bill Gates exemplifies that in a big way. But these are all the elements, I think, it's part tongue-in-cheek, but these are all the elements that we want to at least help cultivate in you to some degree during this class. Okay, so any questions before I move on? I also want these to be very conversational. We have these chunks of time. We try not to pack them with so much information because ultimately this is to serve you, and questions and dialogue are really important. So I'm going to first talk about the top half, the technical skills, operational skills, and kind of where that comes into our class. So the first thing is that we have 7 course modules in the course. So 7 mornings of the course, we're going to have 2 lectures. So you're here for 11 days, total 10 in the course. There's 1 free day. And so these are the topics that you're going to hear us talk about. And then typically right after the morning lectures or sometimes after lunch, you're going to have a technology demonstration that's directly linked to these topics. So you'll see how the principles and technologies that you have been exposed to in lecture are actually reduced to practice and utilized. We have the blessing of being at BLI where there are a lot of biophotonics researchers, and we have pretty much experts in each of these areas. So you can see kind of how they've developed instrumentation or tools that do that. So to kind of get you a sense, so today we're going to have a very general introduction in multi-scale biophotonics, and then the first kind of theme we're going to go through is biological microscopy, kind of setting the foundations for that domain. Will then lead to Monte Carlo methods. Modeling and computation are critical in this field because you're measuring a lot of things with light, and you need a way to kind of understand and analyze that data, as well as simulate in advance what you might expect. To simulate light transport, you need to have optical properties, and you need to know something about how the light field is established within the volume of tissue. So we're going to have a day focused on dosimetry, internal light fields, as well as how you measure optical properties. And the classic way of doing this, or the first real way of doing this, was using something called inverse adding, doubling, and integrating spheres, and you'll have experience with that. And then we'll go through a few applications. One is speckle flow imaging. The next is spatial frequency domain imaging, and then diffuse optics. And we've kind of ordered the topics in a way to kind of be consistent with the theme of multi-scale biophotonics, starting from the micro level, which clearly microscopy interrogates, and then kind of moving over to kind of technologies that utilize phase relationships and coherence and interference, and speckle, spatial frequency domain that probes tissues on the millimeter spatial scale, and diffuse optics that can probe tissue volumes on the centimeter scale. And so, we have other technologies that we won't have formal presentations on, but we'll have tours throughout the week of other resources at BLI. So, obviously OCT isn't represented here, photoacoustic imaging is not represented here, but we have experts in that area, and you'll definitely get the chance to connect. So where this happens in your 20,000 foot view, which you have there, is that, so we have do we have a laser pointer, Richard? Sorry.
No. Yes. Wait a second.
I'm a big fan of the physical pointer. It doesn't need batteries, but anyways. So we have kind of the course modules laid out here: Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have the two lectures associated with those. The faculty that's doing that, and then the tech demonstrations here. Thank you so much. Okay, so complementing these kind of more conceptual learning and maybe visualization of how they're done in practice, we also want to give you some hands-on experience. And so this is where the operational skills come into play. So we're going to have 7 laboratories that will support your learning and really try to give you an insight on how the principles that you've learned can be utilized in practice. So today, will be very basic, introducing you to tissue absorption scattering properties, understanding the details of light scattering, and then we'll have other themes here going from microscopy, Monte Carlo, optical property measurements, and various converted. I think spectral imaging needs to come before spatial frequency domains. I apologize for that. It's incorrect there. So this is all here. The other thing, important element that we wanted to incorporate here is this notion of really thinking about what you learn here, how can it benefit your ongoing research? And one thing that we're going to really drive here is as you get exposed to these various technologies, these laboratories, try to kind of think about the overall goal of your current research and try to figure out maybe a sub-portion of that project or an alternate direction in that project that you can think about completing in about a year with clear milestones. And so we're going to have modules where you're going to do some ideation as well as some kind of proposal development that will lead to defining a problem-based learning experience over the next year. And we'll talk about that more. And that's going to be supported by us in various aspects. So this was the kind of the overview I gave in terms of the lectures and the technical demonstration. So each of these on the same day will be supported by a laboratory. So we're going to be looking at the absorption and scattering spectral lab. We'll have a lab on fluorescence lifetime imaging microscopy, and maybe also FRET, which is forced resonance imaging. We'll do some Monte Carlo simulations. We'll actually get your hands on an integrated sphere and process the data from that. You'll have exposure to a speckle flow imaging system and processing data from that. And then we'll be doing signal analysis from both spatially resolved spatial frequency domain as well as time domain and temporal frequency domain. So any questions on that? And so this is, oh yeah, I should talk about problem-based learning. So we have specific components in the program that will focus on ideation and proposal generation of a one-year-long project. And then the idea is to prepare a presentation, 10-minute presentation on your idea, along with specific milestones that you think you can complete it within 1 year. And really, it serves as a vehicle to implement the knowledge and skills developed during the course in your work. So our hope is that you'll be able to utilize the activities and networking here with the course instructors, with your peers, to think about complementary approaches and direction in your ongoing work. One thing we know is that often we have experts in your area at UCI that may not formally be lecturing, but hopefully I think you're going to be giving your research presentations, I think tomorrow, is that right? Tomorrow afternoon. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, if there are people here at UCI that you would love to talk about your research, please make a mention of that in your presentation, and we'll do our best to try to carve out time where you can connect with them. Okay, that's I think a really we're uniquely situated to be able to offer. And so the whole idea is that you define a project that can be completed a year. You can define a set of quarterly milestones, and I want to just make sure that we're going to be able to provide technical resources and expertise, including quarterly meetings with a technical mentor. And I want to be very clear that this is not meant to supplant your ongoing work. This is not meant to override what your PI wants you to do. We're not your boss. Hopefully, it's really more to kind of, can you think about how you can translate the knowledge that you acquire here to your work, and how can we support you? And we had a cohort go through this past this past year, and so we had assigned nearly all of them with a technical mentor that they could touch base with every 3 months, just to see how your project is going and see if they could help you, you know, so that, this will be a, you know, first you'll come up with something here, and then of course you'll have to talk to your PI and say, does this make sense, etc. Okay, and then, you know, these are where you see these, the colors are really washed out here. So you see the problem-based learning modules. We'll talk about proposal preparation here, and there'll be time where we talk about your ideas. We're going to actually have a team science component, which I'll talk about shortly, where you will also generate ideas. And then we have the labs. Yeah. So that's all on your master. Okay, and then we've got the bottom side here. So team science training. So as I mentioned, you know, a key element in biophotonics is that, you know, many of you may be working with translating your technologies to the clinic or the hospital. You're working with physicians. Some of you may have expertise in computation, but work with a person who's developing instrumentation, or vice versa. You know, this field is innately multidisciplinary. You're working with people with diverse backgrounds. And the question is, how can we develop ways to maximally benefit from the diverse expertise and perspectives that a team offers? And it turns out that there's actually a formal discipline developed, I think mostly out of the social sciences, about team science. And tomorrow we'll have some modules focused on team science and you experiencing certain best practices for leveraging expertise from diverse multidisciplinary groups. The other thing that has been established through a lot of studies out of cognitive science and social science is that having dedicated time where you intentionally reflect on experiences that you've had in the recent past helps you first harden whatever skills you develop, and also proactively helps you think about how you might leverage that knowledge to benefit your work. And so in the mornings during breakfast, we'll be trying to guide you on certain themes for morning reflections. Part of this is just a check-in, just to find out, you know, are there anything we could do better? Is there anything that was kind of didn't quite come through the previous day that you're confused about, or tying up loose ends there? But then we'll also try to give you prompts that will hopefully stimulate maybe a deeper discussion on some of the topics and experiences that you will have had. And then this is kind of where these team science, the morning reflections happen typically in the morning, and then tomorrow will be our key team science day. And then finally, mentoring activities. You know, part of this is understanding what your opportunities may be after you finish your PhD. And so we're going to have a set of panel discussions to talk about career options in industry, in entrepreneurship. There's a lot of activity in the photonics space and in developing new technologies, you know, trying to get a startup going, and you know, the challenges associated with that. And then of course, academic career paths. So we're going to have panel discussions from people that we know that are in all those 3 domains. And so you can learn about their experiences, and really they're here to answer your questions about things that you're thinking about. And then mentoring, I mentioned that we're going to do our best to assign all of you with a technical mentor to help you with your problem-based learning, but we also want to see if we can pair you with a kind of a career or professional mentor. You know, as you go through your graduate or some of your postdocs, you know, kind of thinking about next steps, just having someone who may be situated in a place that you actually envision yourself being, and being able to talk with them, you know, what should I be thinking about, how can I prepare, you know. So we're able to connect you with that. And part of this, I think, really helps in kind of crystallizing in your mind what you want to do, or kind of various options you consider, is completing an individualized development plan. And I think most universities have that in the context of your graduate degree. there's actually a really wonderful tool put out by the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the same publisher of the Science magazine. They have an IDP tool, which is really impressive and expansive in terms of probing your interests. And you take a survey on what your interests are, what gives you joy and happiness, where you think you're strong in, where you think you're weak in, and then they come out. These are all the potential careers that might be a good match for you. And then it just really drives your thinking. And then that IDP is yours, and then you can share it with mentors, and it can kind of help frame the sorts of questions that you may want to ask a potential professional mentor. So we're going to talk about the IDP a little later on. So we have those elements here on your schedule, which you can see. But wait, there's more. Evenings, a lot of what we do is meant to impact biology or medicine, and so we wanted to make sure that you have exposure to some leaders in the field that have successfully used biophotonic technologies to make impacts in biology and medicine. And so we're going to have dinners, this week a couple dinners in this room, and next week a couple dinners at the BLI, and then on the last day when you're all tired and you're sick of everyone and you want to go home, we're going to have a celebratory off campus. So hopefully we'll enjoy our time together and pat everyone on the back for a job well done. Okay, so after the course, as I kind of already alluded to, we're going to have this PBL project. Of course, you got to coordinate with your PI and buy off. We don't want to, supplant your main mission currently, but try to set up quarterly meetings with a technical mentor to assist with your projects. And then if things go really well, we'd love to have one or a few more of you come back next year and kind of share your PBL experience with the next cohort. Part of it is also try to broaden networking, and then career mentoring, to help with progress on your individualized development plan and potential help in exploring future career options. And then the other thing is, I thought I updated this. Anyways, we're going to have morning reflections for you to give us feedback and some advice on how things can be better. I forgot to replace the text here. You'll be contacted by an organization called Blackstone. Blackstone, what is it?
I think it's Blackstone Evaluation.
Blackstone Evaluation, thank you. To provide feedback. And this is a mandated element of NIH, is that they always want to get feedback from all of you. So look out for that. They'll be asking you about the program quality, impact on building your technical and operational skills, the utility of the mentorship. And the assessments will occur immediately following the course, and as well as at 1-2 year time points following the course. And then just to let you know, we also get feedback from an advisory board that we talk with at least twice a year that represent leaders in the field, both in industry as well as in academia and national labs. So they're also inputs to what we do here, and we really thank them for their contributions. So. With that, I will end for now, and we'll transition to the student introductions. I guess we can also introduce ourselves within that rubric. So, are there any questions? Bernard?
All right.
George,
I get the fun part. I get to put you all on the spot.
yes.
Present. Okay, so I guess, so this is basically now going to be about y'all. So just really quickly, so this is where everybody's from. We have noticed this kind of divide here. We largely service Southern California and the east of the eastern part of the United
Right,
States.
we repel everyone. Mountain West.
So the red dots are for individual people, and the yellow dots with the black are for 2 people. So this comprises 17 people. One person's missing, and he makes us have to do this instead. So we have one person here from Madrid. He had a very good. He had a very good day. Actually, last week, basically with Wimbledon and with the Euro Cup. Spain did quite well, so he was very happy. So just, I heard some talking about things. I'm going to do this part really quick. So this is where y'all are staying. We're somewhere over here right now. And so just kind of locally, things to do. There's that park that's shown remain nameless up there. There's Hainan Beach. Newport Beach has Balboa, Corona del Mar. Crystal Cove is a really pretty beach. Laguna Beach is a really pretty beach as well. Places to eat, Diamond Jamboree, Irvine Spectrum. These are all my personal recommendations. I think they might be echoed by some people here. I guess there's also like Northgate. There's this amazing Mexican market that's actually not too far from us. So if anybody has any questions about things, like in terms of things to eat or things like that, just let you guys any of the local participants or just or anybody obviously that's been here before. Staying a little further, obviously we're near the beaches. So yeah, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach is also up there. Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, a little further away. You can take the train up. You can actually take a train up to Los Angeles, and then probably have to Uber from there to different places. But once again, these are just some general recommendations.
You should preface that
Okay.
in Southern California, we don't measure distance in miles or kilometers. We measure it in minutes and hours. So all those circles are basically about half an hour.
Has anybody ever seen The Californian, like on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
It's just like, especially when they're talking about like, take the 5 over to the, it is completely true. Every conversation when you're saying, how do we get from point A to point B? You just have a bunch of numbers and streets being spit out, and it's talking about traffic at this time is good or bad, or it's all true.
Yeah.
And everything, John is completely right. Everything is like half an hour apart.
Except for those are an hour away.
And you can take the train, don't pay attention to the time. You can take the train actually down to San Diego. That's a really nice train ride down, goes right next to the coast. And there's lots to do in San Diego as well, so.
On your day off.
Yeah, on your days off, of course, or in the evening.
Or if you get sick of us, you just.
Yeah. During the days, you're here, bright eyed, bushy tail. All right. So that's all I want to say about that part. I guess in terms of then going into presentations, so I guess there's different ways of ordering these. I didn't want to do alphabetical. So we're going to do it by order of responsibility. So actually, we're going to go in order of who turned it in first. So Alberto, we'll start with you.
All right.
So Alberto, come on up.
Of course.
So the person that's here from the farthest distance, we'll start with them.
I'm nervous. All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Alberto. I'm from Spain. My academic interests are hyperspectral imaging and machine learning, and I basically apply these technologies for brain tumor detection. Some of my hobbies are drums, music, photography, and sports, obviously, as for the Euro Champions. One of the things that I would like to get out of the course is to get a deeper understanding of biophotonics. And the main thing for me is that I really know how to use machine learning, but I lack some of the knowledge on how light interacts with tissue. So I would say my main career interest is university teaching and research. And a fun fact is that I won a swimming competition without swimming. So, yeah.
Okay, you have to explain that one.
Yeah, I was really young. I didn't know how to swim. So there was a competition in my mother's hometown village, and there was only another guy who wanted to swim and compete, but they didn't know how to, so we were 2. And they said, no, you have to swim. And they pushed me into the swimming pool, and I don't know how, but I won the competition. And the other guy got really mad. that's it. Only there's another.
Oh, there's another slide, yes.
All right, yeah. So my research focus is, as I mentioned, use hyperspectral imaging with machine learning to hopefully delineate highly infiltrative tumors for in vivo human brains, and by using non-invasive methods such as hyperspectral imaging and machine learning. One of the key problems is that we would like to enhance the classification of these algorithms. Nowadays, we use homogeneous illumination, which is planar illumination. And one of the reasons why I'm here, doing my stay here at BLI for some months, is to use SFDI, and structure illumination more specifically, to hopefully enhance these classifications and potentially help machine learning algorithms to delineate where the tumor is. The methods used are hyperspectral imaging, machine learning, and deep learning. And the application is to help neurosurgeons make better decisions during surgery. And the main goal is to maximize the patient quality of life, because the more healthy tissue you resect, you can induce or reduce the quality of life of the patient. You can reduce some, like how the patient will be able to speak after the surgery. So there are some complications. The current project is to study the influence of using structured light against planar illumination to interrogate tissue. We have a prototype. I brought the prototype here. I've been very fortunate to be able to do some experiments here. I'm just trying to learn how to extract data from or extract knowledge from the data that we have obtained. And some personal motivations, find the way to enhance these brain tumor detection. Real-time solutions in the operating theater. That's all.
Good, thank you, Albert. Can you swim now?
Yes, of course. But I don't want to swim in California. So many sharks.
Contrary to popular belief, it was a shock to me when I first came out here. Water is very cold, or can be very cold. All right, now we'll Ash.
Maybe I should have submitted a bit later. Okay, hello everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Lokesh. I'm actually from India. I came to the US 3 years back. It's my third year from Mumbai, and then I came here to do my master's at NYU. I'm just starting my PhD. I'm going to start, so I'm still not a PhD student. My interests are medical device design and development and biophotonics. Like lately so, because when I started working at the lab at biophotonics, I started to gain more interest in that. I love watching movies and TV shows. You name it, I know it. And if I haven't watched that, I'll probably watch it during this time. And like you, I'm also a drummer. And I learned cooking in my later years when I moved out of the house, because you have to survive, I think, that way. What I do hope to get out of is to first learn crucial aspects of biophotonics. It will help me in my PhD and also networking, which is very important. And my career interest is to build something of my own, maybe a medtech company in future. I was working as a consultant for a while, so I have some understanding of business aspects, and I want to really bring them together and do something of my own. And fun fact, well, yeah, I'm a drummer with 2 masters, and I'm starting my PhD this fall. Is there another slide? Yes. Yes. So the research interests, currently our team is working on developing a non-invasive wearable medical device for monitoring stroke. The problem is that there is high risk of recurrences after you have had your first stroke. I can talk a bit more later. But there are no wearable devices for that, and we realized this when we were working with another clinical collaborator, so we started working on this idea. We use near-infrared spectroscopy, diffusion imaging, and we have also planned to integrate machine learning prediction algorithms to make it better. The application is for monitoring strokes when patients get out of the hospital, so at home, and we've developed a prototype as well, and we're also doing an IRB study at NYU Langone, which is a hospital associated with NYU. And the motivation is just to make healthcare affordable. Coming from India, seeing stroke is really expensive. If you don't know, a stroke today costs $60,000. One stroke, and that's really high. If you don't have insurance, you'll probably die. And that's something that's really important. Thank you.
Akash. John.
Okay, let me preface this. Usually I randomly walk into weird things and I just rely on usually on the organizers when they see my application to tell me that I'm in the wrong place and, please, please go somewhere else and don't waste our time. But I have been paying attention, and this is what I disclosed to the organizers when I signed up here. I'm from South Pasadena, which is about 35 miles from here, but it took me all of a whopping 90 minutes to get here this morning, and it's almost a little late. I should know better because I grew up in Southern California. I am probably much older than everybody in the room. So I got my degree in MEMS, microelectromechanical systems. I transitioned to biomems, and I've always known microfluidics because all my degrees are actually in aerospace engineering. Okay, my hobbies. If you look at my career path, I'm motivated by food. Places that have really good food attract me. I like to work in places with really good food. Okay, that's probably the only thing that they all have in common. I like to play golf because I have 3 little girls. They're actually pretty big right now. And I found out early on it's a very gender neutral sport, so it was really competitive, except now I can't keep up with them. So basically I just chase a little ball around. But my real hobby is helping students commercialize their ideas. Okay. Let's see. This is the part where I disclose I don't really do research anymore. I am in the process of setting up, I'm from the University of Southern California. I'm a lecturer there. I am in the process of helping the biomedical engineering department at USC set up an innovation space. We can't call it a maker space because somebody else took that name. But it's basically a maker space for BMEs, biomedical engineering students. Some really, really nice professors are in the process of donating imaging modules to us. When I went through this, I learned how to use a light field microscope, and that's the end of my knowledge. So this is why I'm here. I really want to learn what the other tools really do and how to apply these to student projects. And my real interest is developing products to address unmet needs in healthcare. You're like, yeah, we all do that. I have specific examples. Okay, the weirdness about me is, I don't know if it's politically correct, but I'm talking about myself. I'm what you call a banana. I'm yellow on the outside, but really I'm white on the inside. I've worked all over the world, Taiwan, Hong Kong, mainland China, and I don't speak a lick of Chinese. Okay, yeah, if you ask, how do the restaurants work? I order by number and photos. Okay, sorry.
That was good? Got another slide, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm probably the poster child for if you really have a good basic education, you can fake it for the rest of this. So like I said, my career was in MEMS, microelectromechanical systems. When I started out, you were allowed to moonlight as long as you disclosed it to your advisor. So I ended up working at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. There is a former, he's still emeritus professor here. Before he was a professor here, before he was a program manager, he was at JPL, a guy named Bill Tang.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Bill led the MEMS group. I was in in situ exploration. This photo is for my wife to show exactly how old I am. There's a museum in the basement of the Micro Devices Lab at JPL. If you ever visit, these are the devices we made 25 years ago. So this is to show that I'm actually in a museum, or the stuff that I did is in a museum. Okay. When I joined USC, I developed an interest in zebrafish. I really didn't know what zebrafish were, but I learned they were transparent, fun to image. Since I had a background in fluid mechanics, this is actually probably the last time I attempted to do research. This is actually a paper from Duke University. I like to do fun things. So what they did was usually you have to mount the zebrafish, and then you want to take pictures, and it takes a few minutes to go and spin this. We use acoustofluidics to spin the zebrafish while they're still alive, and take the pictures and image them. And you can do your whole cohort of 100 zebrafish in like 2 hours. And when I read the student's paper, I was like, you did somebody's PhD thesis like 4 years ago in like 15 minutes. So anyways, that was a fun paper. And then recently I got into optical coherent tomography because I run into very, very intelligent and interesting people. And these people were at Bell Labs, and they had optics on a chip, and they were wondering what to do with it. So instead of doing the basic research, I told them, well, you know what? There's a bunch of medical applications, and I'll talk about that in my research.
All right. Thanks, John. Moving on, Sarah.
So I'm Sarah. I'm from Indiana, but I'm actually now at IIT. I'm getting my PhD in biomedical engineering, but my bachelor's was in mechanical engineering, and I have a concentration in mechatronics. So I've kind of been in various engineering departments. My academic interests right now are kinetic tracer modeling, molecular imaging, and the development of imaging device systems really intrigues me, although I'm not quite doing that right now. I'm mostly working on software development. After this, I hope to do a postdoc position and then hopefully go on and be a research professor where I can kind of implement everything I've learned, both in undergrad and in graduate school. The objective of taking this course was to learn more about biophotonics and also to network both with the current experts in the area, but also with you guys, because we're all the upcoming people that will be running this area too. So, beyond that, outside of my academics and research, I like to do yoga and run and weightlift. So if anyone wants to run while we're here, I'd be happy to have a buddy. Outside of this, I have had a decent background within machine design. And so you can see some of the pictures are from my time working at Machine Elements and some projects I have worked on. And in the fall, I'll be doing yoga teacher training. So something not engineering related. And then, thank you so much. So my research focusing is focused on determining if retinal vascular permeability can be used as a preclinical biomarker for diabetic retinopathy. Diabetic retinopathy is an eye disease that occurs with people who have diabetes that I'll explain a little more in tomorrow's presentation. How we're doing this is through dynamic tracer kinetic model methods. We're using that to extract extraction fraction, which is basically the amount of dye the fraction of dye that leaks out of the retinal vasculature and into the surrounding tissue. We're using that as a representation of what the permeability is within the retinal vasculature. And we're doing that on fluorescein video angiographies, which is taken with using a slim laser ophthalmoscope. One of the current projects that I'm actually just starting is a Monte Carlo simulation study. So I'm excited that we have so many experts in that here.
In the back, and in the back.
Yeah, yes, hi. So we're doing that because we've consistently seen overestimations within our blood flow, which we believe is a result of the attenuation of fluorescein within the retinal vasculature, which is then causing an underestimation in the concentration in the tissue, and then, that overestimation in blood flow. So hopefully with this study, we can prove that that's actually what's occurring. My mentor is Dr. Kenneth Shar at IIT, but we also work with Dr. Jennifer King-Mueller, who I actually started in her lab and did a year of animal studies first. Very interesting. And then with Dr. Fauzi and Dr. Mueller, who are both ophthalmologists.
All right, thank you. All right, Mitchell. Appreciate it. In the picture.
Oh yeah, nice and big. But unfortunately, with that picture, I'm missing a pretty prominent feature on my face now, and that was quite a few years ago when I was working at a pharmaceutical company. So my name is Mitchell Hare, but you can just call me Mitch for short. So I'm from Tampa, Florida, but I grew up in Iowa for a while, and I'm at the University of South Florida. Not too late. So my academic interests are, so I'm a biomedical engineer first. I started with chemical engineering. So my biggest thing is I want to look more at like health conditions rather than like how to like analyze it. So that's why I'm here. So my biggest interest right now is women's health and social medicine, also being that drug abuse. So, but I did start with surgical methods first, which we'll go over later. So my biggest hobby right now is playing rugby. I just got done playing with the pro team down in Tampa, and now I'm over here to do actual smart people things instead of hurting my brain. But don't worry, when I'm back in Florida, I'll be getting hurt again. So one of the things I want to do in this short course, right now I don't know what to do after I graduate. I'm in the last year, so I'm really kind of getting down to the wire. Thankfully, my PI offered me a postdoc spot, so at least I can delay that decision a little bit further. But one of the big things I want to do is I want to understand instrumentation a little bit better. Being a chemical engineer, the biggest thing they taught me about circuits is what is a resistor. I don't know what that is still. So I wasn't the best student either. So, but now I am. But I just want to understand how everything works together and just come back and start building things instead of relying on my lab mates to help me out. So what are my career interests? Well, I do want to look into entrepreneurship more, as you can see here with my fun fact about myself. During COVID, I got bored, and my buddy and I, we started a student startup company that actually did speckle imaging. It started off with skin cancer, but we did something interesting with the terminology of biophotonics, and we went into agriculture instead. Turns out plants run like people in some cases, so that was cool. But right now I'm just torn between academia and industry for the time being, because I love teaching my students when I do all kinds of different things, such as transport, as well as their end of degree projects and stuff. I've really enjoyed that. 1 minute snapshot of my research interests. I'm interested in a lot of things. Unfortunately, I throw a lot of ideas out to my PI. He loves them all, which means I get to more work. But I like working, so that's fine. So my research, I cater it more towards looking at accessibility and affordability. So for example, for the thing we'll see with the research, I developed a cataract surgical device that they literally want to go into rural India for, and then perform cataract surgeries in the back of a car with a generator. That's pretty cool. But I want to keep doing more of that. So one of the things I want to do though, is I do want to focus on, well, again, for the phacolysis, which is cataract, it's for low middle income countries. But also what I want to do is I'm focusing on women's healthcare in general, that being very not well addressed in biomedical engineering, especially if you look into maternal fetal medicine. So that's what I'm actually working on right now with my PI, Dr. Ashwin. As for collaboration, I have to work with nothing but USF Health individuals, as well as people who are in the biomedical engineering. So I talk to doctors all the time, and you get some very interesting personalities for sure. But my personal motivation why I want to do all this, growing up in Iowa, everyone's pretty poor, to put it nicely. And with that being said, people don't really get care, especially when you look into with kids and stuff. I had one of my cousins, their kids didn't turn out that great because they didn't have a lot of health care, and you're exposed to a lot of drug abuse, which is why I want to answer that as well. So hopefully with biophotonics and learning through this, I can get closer to that goal. So,
All right, thanks, Ben. All right, so ours, she was a victim of the CrowdStrike issues. So she's coming a little bit later, but she just sent a video, so I figured I'd play the video. I'm not sure if sound will work. Oh, it's coming just from here. Okay, maybe we'll circle back, or maybe we can watch. I think maybe on your own computers. I don't think the sound's going to travel well. Lara.
Hi everyone.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good. You see my face here, but
Oh,
double.
there we go. All right, we're good now.
Hi. So I'm Lara. I'm from Munich, Germany. Actually, we have Oktoberfest, and we lost against Spain while I was in Germany, which was awful. But actually, I'm doing my PhD at NYU together with Lokesh. We're in the same lab, and my broad academic interests are diffuse optical tomography, not only that, just general optical tomographic methods, and machine learning, although I haven't really gotten into the machine learning part of everything yet. I like playing volleyball. I played for quite about 14 years. I switched over to running, the gym, everything, and I like traveling and reading. And in general, out of this short course, I wanted to just get a deeper interaction of light and tissue, understanding of light and tissue interaction. Because in general, what I do, I'm more the software person, so we do software optimization, stuff like that, and it's really, really important for me to understand stuff in the tiniest details. We use numerical methods, machine learning methods, but to optimize the software, you really need to know what's actually going on. And in general, my career interests are, I'm not super set on something, but what I know, I want to play my part in developing medical devices and just really doing something which maybe changes anything or helps people. Fun fact about myself, I speak 4 different languages and I have hyper flexible elbows. I can show you, it's a little disgusting. So if somebody doesn't want to see it, just tell me now or look away. But I can stretch them little. Okay, do you want to see it? I can. Okay, it's I can do it with both arms, but yeah, so.
Wow.
My talents. Okay. Oh yeah, so as I said earlier, my focus is software optimization and for disease diagnosis monitoring. And what I want to do is just improve the image reconstruction of optical tomographic methods. And right now I'm using diffuse optical tomography, numerical methods, and machine learning, but I'm looking to maybe just look at other methods too. We're also looking into microwave imaging, just reconstructive imaging in general. We do different things in the lab. Lokesh said he's doing stork stuff. I am also doing different stuff, software for brain function monitoring or breast cancer, but we also look into vascular diseases, PAD, stuff like that. So it's just a broader thing and different applications. Right now, what I'm doing right now is continuous and real-time monitoring of the brain function. And my personal motivation why I'm doing everything is just, why I'm doing BME too, is just helping people. And ever since coming to the US, I saw how much healthcare is and like that it can like get quite expensive. And what we do in our lab, like those diffuse optical tomography methods and stuff like that, that's way cheaper, and it would be really nice to just like find something or do the software for image reconstruction of actual techniques or imaging modalities which are cheaper and where like patients can get more easy access to. So that would be great, just to help someone who maybe doesn't have a lot of money or just change somebody's life. So that's my main motivation of doing that. Yeah. Okay.
It's a person? Oh, no, that's. Vasan, we'll skip you for a second.
Yes.
All right, Sunho. You can drive it if you want.
Oh yeah, I didn't know. If I did, I shouldn't put the animation here. So, hello everyone. My name is Sunho Park, and first of all, before I start, another thanks to Professor Choi and Professor Venugopalan, because before I start, I just explained how it's difficult to come here, but thanks for their help. I'm here. Yes, I'm from the National Institute of Health, located in Maryland, Bethesda, Maryland, and technically I'm from South Korea. And I belong to translational vascular medicine branch. So my interest is that we want to know how to diagnose, how to treat the vascular disease. That is my interest. And my hobby is like when I have spare time, usually I play tennis. Even this day, I have 2 kids, and then just sorry for my wife. I'm pretty busy, but I usually play tennis from the morning 6 to 8 a.m. and after that, I usually go to work. And also, my other hobby is play the drone and others. So even the kind of other sad story is I'm living near Washington D.C. Even I'm commercial pilot, drone pilot, but they restrict to fly. Only I can fly is when somebody officially asks me to do something. At that time, I just finish work and then just play myself a little bit. That is all the time. So here, I also brought my drone here because here is no restrictions. But actually, I need to go some other place a little bit because next to our hotel, they have the airport. So it's also
fly.
Otherwise, I have to store me other ticket too. Hey, please, let me fly. Yes, and yes, from here, this course, I want to get a lot of experience. Before I come here, before I join NIH, I work as like you, and I develop optical devices such as like optical coherent tomography or non-contact based photofocus imaging system and others. And from here, I also develop wireless near infrared spectroscopy. But I recently moved to a new place, and in my workplace, there is no engineer. So when they have experiment data, they always brought to me like cell data and nearest data and many things. So I need to know how actually we need to conduct the experiment. Then I can give them guide how can we get good quality of the data. So that's from here also they have fluorescence imaging experiment, something like that. That's why I want to explore more and more the courses from here. And my career interest, I also explain, I always want explain to my people, I want to be translational engineer or researcher. They don't know what that means. So when I usually work, I also face the problem. So before, when one of the colleagues, he studied about the machine learning and deep learning. So I asked him to apply my data, but we have difficulties to communicate each other. And now, after that, I studied machine learning, and then I understand, why this guy could understand what I said. And also now I work with the doctors and also have difficulties because they have the clinical data. They say, just do something. And always I say, what's the data type? How it look like? But they say, I don't know. Just go here and do it. So later I realized, oh, they have difficulty talk each other. So if I so later I realized, oh, I really enjoyed my work, and then just study each field, and then I want to work as a bridge between many different fields. That is what I want to be. And fun fact is, maybe everyone's same. So when I meet my friend and others, I usually introduce myself. Hey, I study about optics. I'm the optical researcher. And then they say, oh, you study about engineers. Can you fix something? So what I fixed until now, I fixed air fryer. They vanished. Oh my gosh. So you're an engineer. Excuse me, I am optics guy. Anyway, engineer, right? Just fix it. Okay, and then what is the garage door? They have a big motor. In Korea, we don't have that kind of stuff. But I just study a little bit. What's the problem? And then just discuss them everything and then fix it. Yeah, I learned really a lot. Later, when I buy the house, maybe I can fix myself. And before I come here, recently what I do, my friend also my elderly friend, she learned the cafe, and then she asked me, oh, vending machine is broken. Sungo, can you help? Oh, geez. So now I know how to manage the vending machine now. So maybe I can make another business, that kind of thing. Only I use my field knowledge when I change the bulb. So like, yes, they say, oh, I can do a little more complicated stuff, but they say just change the bulb. That is what you can do. So that is what I use. So here. One mini snapshot, I also realized I should follow a template. But one mini snapshot, I think I couldn't explain all, so that's why I just brought the image here. So as I said, we're studying, now I'm very interested about how can we diagnose and treat the blood vessel disease. So usually they have many different ways. Maybe tomorrow, maybe we have more chance. But here I just want to briefly explain what you're doing. And usually they have many ways to analysis and monitor the vessel condition. So usually we can take an image like ultrasound and MRI, CT we can do. And another way is using the near infrared spectroscopy or ultrasound-based flow mediated dilation analysis. And other way we also can use biomarkers. So here what you can do, we also try spectral imaging, but from here I just choose these two combinations of this method because first of all, these two techniques I can manage it when we are doing the experiment. Other thing I have difficult to access. And second thing is like usually the nears we can see real time monitoring for microvascular activity, and the ultrasound, using the ultrasound, we call FMD, and we can see macrovascular vessel condition we can monitor. So usually some people they use only one, or they just use only one. But in my case, I just combine two. Even it means I can monitor whole blood vessel when you do the experiment. And also from here, what I can do as engineers. So many people when they do use the nears, maybe somebody is familiar with the nears. So they usually just check how the gravity is decreased or increased. They usually just check the slope. But as a translation engineer, also just put other math here. I just fit every data and calculate and then put in the machine learning, and then just try to find the characteristic how it's going on. So people they already check from beginning at small portion, but I did everything, so it's a little more high accuracy than other people. That is what we are trying to do. And also here, I saw this one of the questions is personal motivation why we are studying here. I got an accident when at 2013. At that time, my spinal is broken and my artery was tear, almost died. And then that time, I was very healthy person because I just discharged from the army, and I was very muscular. So I thought I can overcome some situation, but I failed, and that's why I almost died. But so I just lie down on the hospital, and then I got support from the doctors and resident and nurse. And then at that time I realized, oh, maybe I want to do something for them. And then, but I'm studying about optics. So using the optics and let's have some people. That is one of my personal motivation to be here. All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Bjorn.
Hey, I'm Bjorn Paulson. I'm from Wisconsin. I have a little bit of a weird story because I did my PhD in Korea. Actually, he knows my advisor. So now I'm back in Wisconsin. My parents are getting old, and there's a bunch of reasons, but that's one of them. And then also coming back to the U.S. to make a lot more money. So I'm motivated by that sort of thing. I'm doing fluorescence lifetime imaging, and our lab is very focused on lifetime imaging and sort of different types of combining multiple different types of imaging in the same samples. I used to do a lot of cycling during the pandemic and a lot of weightlifting. After coming to Madison, back to Wisconsin, I started sailing because we have a bunch of lakes, and it's really great sailing for 3 or 4 months out of the year. The rest is all frozen. Let's see, I'm hoping to learn a lot of the different optical methods, and I'm a little bit weak on the biology side, so I'd like to sort of learn different things I can do to analyze my samples and attack these biological problems that I've been delegated, but I have no idea how to approach. Long term, I'm thinking I want to make money, so I kind of want to go into industry, but teaching is kind of fun university. My motivation there is when I was in Korea, I was under a ton of stress. Coming back to Wisconsin, I discovered I'm pretty relaxed now, and it's nice to not be stressed. So, yeah, just trying to not go into full-time faculty track, that would be miserable. Fun fact about myself, I lived a third of my life in Seoul. So, I'm building a 2-photon fluorescence lifetime microscope and applying it to imaging mostly xenopus embryos and oocytes, so it's frog eggs. They're pretty large. So that's a fun aspect of that problem. And then once we have those images, we'll be doing some analysis on stuff like that. In the past, I've done a lot of photodynamic therapy stuff, and my previous postdoc was endoscope development. So we're doing these little tiny developing these tiny microendoscopes for use in mice. And I'm personally less motivated by helping people and more interested in solving problems. So as long as there's an interesting problem where I can focus on it and solve something, and see progress, I get really motivated. That's why I enjoy programming, because I can always see little bits of progress. So that's addictive to me, and I really love doing that sort of thing.
All right.
All right, hey everybody. My name is Nicholas. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas originally. I currently live in Fayetteville and go to the University of Arkansas. My PI is Dr. Narasimhan Rajaram at the U of A. He told me about this course, and I'm here, so glad to be here. To the right, that's a picture of me and my wife, Sabrina. My academic interests are cancer biology and metabolism. It's a lot of what I do right now. Also with fluorescence lifetime imaging, we do metabolic imaging. Multiphoton microscopy, computational modeling, and machine learning. I'm just getting into machine learning and would love to learn more from you guys about what you do with machine learning. Some of my hobbies are hiking and cycling up in Northwest Arkansas. We're in the Ozark Mountains, so lots of opportunities for that. I love to cook, love to try foods from all around the world. Let's see. So out of this short course, I hope to deepen my understanding of optical methods and just learn from all of you guys. Like you're saying, all the collaboration that is involved in this field. I'd just love to learn what you guys are doing and hopefully integrate some of our research. My career interest is eventually going into industry, doing cancer diagnostic research and development. Fun fact about myself, my wife and I have 4 chickens and a dog, Charlie. That's us there.
That's only 2 of the chickens.
That's 2 of the chickens. That's Charlie at top, and then Mary and Martha, 2 of our chickens right there. So fresh eggs every day from them. But
Don't you live near Tyson headquarters?
I do. These are not Tyson chickens. Hopefully we treat them a little bit better than Tyson chickens.
The Tyson chickens go on top of tables like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so a quick snapshot of my research. In our lab at the University of Arkansas, we use optical imaging to investigate biomarkers and hallmarks of the tumor microenvironment that can lead to treatment resistance and just ongoing prognosis. And so we try to find those biomarkers with, like I said, fluorescence lifetime imaging, spectroscopy. And the key problem that I'm looking at is really the second question is why do treatment responses vary so significantly from patient to patient? As many of you know, cancer treatment is not a one-size-fits-all thing, and so just looking at biomarkers that can help us predict an individual's response to treatment is really important. Some of the methods that I use are 2-photon fluorescence microscopy, FLAM, and then also diffuse reflectance spectroscopy. Applications, prediction of treatment response in cancer therapy, and then development of point-of-care technologies that can lower the cost of these diagnostic methods, and then also just increase accuracy of diagnosis. So my current project is actually using fluorescence imaging on formalin-fixed, paraffin-embedded samples, which is something at least new for our lab. There's a really high inventory of these samples in clinics and hospitals, but mainly we focus on fresh tissue. So we're looking at these samples and correlating them with a genomic test that predicts the benefit of chemotherapy. So trying to correlate these results and hopefully get an alternative for these genomic tests. I collaborate with Highlands Oncology, which is located in the Northwest Arkansas area, and then UAMS, which is our medical school at U of A. My personal motivation is I've seen, and many of us have seen, the negative impact that some cancer treatments can have on people. Of course, there's amazing benefits, but so hopefully through our work, we can reduce the occurrence of these harmful effects by predicting treatment response and improving treatment and therapy routes. So yeah, that's all I got.
All right. All right, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Atikul. So I was born and raised in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and I started my PhD here. So currently I'm working with laser spectral imaging, and I'm kind of getting into optical modifications of high entropy alloys. It's actually with the former faculty of UCO, right, Dr. Eric? Yeah. But I don't want to talk about it because it's too late. Yeah. And my hobbies are playing guitar, ukulele, chess, and I like to cook. I was actually pretty high rated when I was in high school. So, and the thing is, I did my undergrad and worked for the industry for like 2 years, and then I started my PhD recently. So, and then I keep hearing all these terms like Monte Carlo and everything in meetings and in seminars. Like I recognize these terms, but I don't know exactly what they are. So that's why I'm here, to know about these things. That's the honest answer. Yeah. And my career interest is to join the industry, hopefully after, if and when I finish my PhD. And fun fact, I work for, as I said, consumer goods manufacturing. And let me tell you a secret. So if a brand has any product, be it shampoo or cream, and it has a women's version and a men's version, there is no difference except the perfume. Like literally, it's 95% of the time. And it's fine. Sorry. Seeing Lara's flexible elbow, I kind of realized I also have flexible fingers. I should have known that. So I can bend my fingers.
He didn't use the word.
I can move the back of my palm. This kind of comes in handy while playing guitar, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Okay. So 1 minute snapshot. So currently I'm working to build a device that can, a portable device that can monitor blood perfusion. It actually uses laser spectral imaging. Choi is an expert here on that. And yeah, so it's a pretty non-invasive method of monitoring blood flow. It's pretty handy when you're like monitoring like wound healing and stuff like that. So currently the prototype is built and it kind of works. So, but now we're like testing its performance using in vitro, and hopefully next phase is the ex vivo trials. I'll show it in tomorrow's presentation. Yes. All right.
I don't know how many more flexible things we're gonna be. The witness here. Line here. Oh, right there. Okay, perfect. So we do have a clinician in our midst.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Lila from Lila. I am a faculty here in oculoplastics neuro-ophthalmology, so in the Department of Ophtho. I've been working with Bernard and Tony as a KL scholar. It's been amazing. So I saw this, my hobbies, and like, I haven't been asked that question, much less thought about it in years. I recently had 2 kids. But I spent a ton of time with them, our dog and my husband. We're starting to travel again and read and run too. The runner here, I'll just tell you guys about where to run. Is he right? Yeah. So yeah, I kind of dived into this clinic with clinical applications, and I have been in labs and for so many years, and I think I look younger than I am. But this is now like an opportunity to really go back to core principles, get my foundation, make Tony happy. And then my interest really is to just, help my patients, like as a lot of people have mentioned, there's a lot of roadblocks, and just to offer things are the pipeline and actually being involved in them is, really great. I found that, I don't know, lived in 14 cities, I don't know, that's part of this training. And then the next slide is, I didn't answer the questions because I did like 10 last night. But so essentially what we're doing is using the modular device that we have here and determining which regions of interest around the periocular and oculofacial space yields reliable indices to monitor long-term so that they're reproducible, reliable. And so in the oculofacial region, there's a lot of different processes. I initially got into it through thyroid eye disease, which we'll talk about tomorrow. And so there's a lot of collagen vascular remodeling, a lot of, there's a lot of changes that we're hoping to pick up on. So a wild goose chase, have a lot of data, now trying to go backwards and now analyze it. And that's about it. Thanks.
All right, Mark.
Hello everyone. My name is MD Mubarak Karim. MD means not medical doctor, is Muhammad, so don't be confused. Okay. So I was actually born in Bangladesh, and I had a bachelor degree in Tripoli, back in Bangladesh. I did my master's in South Korea, so I have some of my friends here. And now I am a PhD candidate in biomedical engineering at University of Houston under Dr. Larin supervision. So my current career academic interest is integrated multimodal optical imaging system for developmental biology, especially embryonic imaging. So my hobbies are basically soccer, but I need to add a few more things. That's why I add cricket and FIFA. I mean, my game. So one of the biggest achievements so far I have from the soccer is my ACL tear. That's the reason why I had here. So I had this image here. So I have a meniscus and ACL surgery back in May 20. So it's been 2 months I had this surgery. And my expectation from this school actually, so I have a great exposure with the building optical system, but I feel like I have lack of knowledge for tissue interaction and the computational method, especially the Monte Carlo simulation thing. So I think I will get really great exposure from this school. And my career interest is either industry or university research faculty, where I will get better opportunity to building multimodal optical systems. So it's very specific. Whenever I will get any opportunity where I have opportunity to build multimodal system, then I will definitely stick with it. And fun fact about myself, I did my undergraduate research renewable energy. That's actually basically building remote, focusing on remote renewable energy. Sorry, what's the name? Anyway, renewable energy system. But during my masters, I shifted to major in biomedical optics. So I had very hard time during my masters. So currently, my main research focus is development of combined optical coherence tomography and light sheet one photon and two photon microscopy for embryonic imaging. So the key problem we are trying to solve that. So there is a central hypothesis that most of the birth defect has relation with the circulatory loop between the mom and baby's placenta and the umbilical cord. So it's the central hypothesis. There is so many hypothetical answer, but there is no real imaging. So we are coming to check if we can develop a system which has a structural and molecular ability to imaging at this earlier stage. So we will get better understanding what's actually going on during this circulating loop development. So for that we use actually swept source system. So I will talk more about during my detailed presentation, and light sheet one photon and two photon microscope. And the application is very specific for development ability, and I use mouse and zebrafish both. And so currently I'm focusing 3 projects. That's actually using, first 2 projects using the same method, multimodal optical coherence tomography and light sheet process microscopy. So for the mouse, I'm very specific with the umbilical cord formation. But for zebrafish, we are actually trying to see the brain formation, eye and vasculature deformation. And I'm also working for the attenuation coefficient method during the brain development. So my personal motivation, I think I already mentioned it, it's all about to make something affordable, multimodal system that can facilitate optical imaging for development of eyes. Thank you.
Sensing an interesting theme here with developmental models. I think we had 1 person last year. I think I've already seen 3 this year. All right, Shashi.
Hello everyone, I am Shashi. I'm from Central India and currently I am a PhD student in a Professor O'Sullivan's lab at University of Notre Dame. My academic interests are developing a wearable health monitoring devices, and my more focus is on analog and digital circuits. My hobbies are cooking and seasonal gardening, particularly in the summer, because we are from Indiana and we have the good season in the summer. I plan to get a better understanding of diffuse optics, particularly tomography, in this workshop, as well as get some motivation from other people, how they are doing the research in long term. Also networking. My career interests are work in the industry, particularly in the R&D of wearable technologies or health monitoring devices development companies. The fun fact I did not mention here, but is like I work as a teaching assistant back home for 7 years, and I teach mostly analog and digital circuits. That's the reason why that makes me more interested into those fields and use my previous knowledge in developing a wearable devices. Yeah, as I mentioned, my research focus is on developing the compact, fully wearable frequency domain near infrared spectroscopy devices. Currently, the big challenge is the size and complexity of the technology because it uses like a vector network analyzer, current sources, they are bulky and complex. And my work is toward transitioning these complexity into the small form factor in a more simpler way, which those devices that can be used in a fully wearable monitoring. So I use a frequency domain diffuse optical spectroscopy as a method, and it has a variety of applications such as muscles oxygen saturation measurement, particularly in the sports and for the athlete, as well as the brain activity measurement. And my current project is wearable broad bandwidth frequency domain near infrared spectroscopy devices. And the next project that I am targeting is developing a wearable helmet for a free moving subject. We have a collaboration from UCI itself, Professor Beans from Electrical and Computer Science Engineering Department at UCI. They are developing the CMOS ASIC chip, which act as a core of the system, replacing the bulky instrumentation with the chip. And my personal motivation is I have faces or experienced the struggle in the developing countries for the diagnostics facilities. So my aim is to provide a solution which is affordable to the common people, particularly for the low-income countries.
Claudia.
Okay. So hi, my name is Claudia Garcia. I'm from San Juan, Puerto Rico, but I'm doing my PhD at Tulane University, which is in New Orleans, Louisiana, under Dr. Carolyn Bayer. So my academic interest is using nanotechnology and photoacoustic imaging to improve women's health. My hobbies is watching and playing sports, so playing would be like soccer, swimming, pickleball, and then watching were like tennis, basketball, American football, soccer. What I hope to get from this experience is professional growth, make connections, and gain knowledge in biophotonics and technical skills. Career interests, I would like to be a physician scientist and a college professor. And some fun facts is that this is my first time in California, and I went to the Copa America final, which was very fun. And then research focus on developing a local placental delivery system to treat preeclampsia. Right now, there's no treatment for preeclampsia. It's a a disease in pregnant women with like hypertension in women, proteinuria, and like organ dysfunction. So right now, the treatment would be drugs to manage like the symptoms. So using vasodilators, and they have like non-specific binding, which leads to needing like a higher dose for the drug to be efficient, and then it has adverse effects on the mother. So we are using phase shift perfluorocarbon nanodroplets paired with photoacoustic imaging to have a local treatment of the drug in the placenta. And then personal motivation is to improve healthcare outcomes and promote equitable attention to women's health needs through non-invasive imaging techniques in this like under-researched field. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm like 5 minutes behind.
No worries.
Who did you root for in the Copa final?
Argentina. So I was very happy winning and celebrating at the end.
All right, thank you, Claudia. Okay. Ezekiel.
Hello everyone, my name is Ezekiel. If you want to go by Spanish kind of pronunciation of it, it's going to be Ezequiel.
I'm originally from Mexico, actually. I grew up in a small farm kind of town. I kind of grew up like raising cattle, and that's kind of where that picture was taken from. So we just went up to the house and just put it in one of my best. Was like, that's a good picture, let's just take it. So I actually work with Bernard here. We do a lot of spatial laser imaging. I'm also kind of more interested into computer vision, doing stuff with images and like just play with it. Some of my hobbies are, well, I'm gonna say computers. I just spent about $400 on computer stuff. So I bought a CPU, a power supply and stuff. So I'm kind of like building my own computer. It's kind of an expensive hobby, but like I like it. I like to listen to a lot of music. I'm kind of have like a broad kind of like interest in different kinds of music. And I do play some video games. I actually have an old GameCube in my place and I play with it actually. I invited Alberto to play FIFA Street with me. I kind of demolished him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right.
Actually, funny story. We have some lab events, and like 2 months ago, we went to a park, and that is from Sweden, right? That day, is it from Sweden?
No, from
there.
I don't know.
Slovenia. Slovenia. So there was this guy from Slovenia. It was Alberto, myself, and Chris, another guy that works in VLI. We were playing a teams of 2 versus 2, and again, I was demolishing Alberto, so I'm sorry. It was the Slovenian, the Mexican versus the Spain and the Americans. So I was like, that's kind of a fun kind of activity. What I plan on getting from this kind of experience is just more skills and more knowledge that I can actually apply from my research. And well, I kind of just want to go straight into industry after finishing my program. So that's where I am at. And fun fact about me, again, talking about me being raised on a farm and stuff, I actually learned how to drive when I was 8 years old on a tractor. It's actually easier than you will think because tractors do not go fast. So it's like better for you to learn. So it's like clutch, first gear, second gear stuff. And the reason why I had to learn at that early of an age is because my dad wanted to have free labor essentially. So, it is what it is. Again, some of research focuses on laser spectral imaging, mainly more into applying the laser spectral imaging into kind of like stuff that we can actually see and do with it. And key problem is the whole process has been kind of pain, honestly. When Bernard kind of like backed me up, I have had a lot of like troubleshooting my kind of research on my project. So essentially, what I'm working on is a kind of marriage between laser spectral imaging and endoscope. Systems, so you can image inside of the body. It's still a work in progress. So what it is essentially is we're trying to see if we can kind of like see how the healing process inside of the body with the graft one of our collaborators is going to be putting into an animal. So again, it's kind of a work in progress. I actually managed to destroy a power supply unit. I'm sorry. But finally, what my personal motivation is that I'm the first one in my family to actually go to a graduate program. So it's like, kind of want to put a kind of like pathway for future generations, whether it's my kids or my siblings' kids, to like, someone in your family can actually do it, so you can as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't think you submitted a check.
No, I did. I just opened it and then it refreshed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Ezekiel was a slacker. I had to remind him this morning.
No, I am too. You're gonna see that I don't have a 1 minute snapshot because I was doing this at the airport and I deleted the next slide because I was like, this is it. But I can do it talking. My name is Ana. I am from São Paulo, Brazil, but currently I live in Michigan. Like Shashi, I attend Notre Dame. I actually commute between states. I drive an hour down and an hour up every single day from Michigan to Indiana to split the driving distance with my fiance because he works in Michigan. My academic interests are diffuse optical spectroscopy of the breast tissue and developing technologies and whatnot. My hobbies are CrossFit and knitting, so very polar opposites. You have people dying on the floor after working out, and then the grandma hobby with my cats in my lap.
What I hope to get out of this short course, it's more like knowledge and career development. I am here to absorb as much knowledge as I can from the course itself and from you guys to help kind of shape what I want to do in the future, because as you can see, I'm still uncertain what I want to do, because for me, geographical location is more important, and that makes my career look a bit like a big bunch of question marks. It's kind of difficult to find stuff in Southwest, West Michigan area. Fun facts about myself, I have 2 cats. They're named Pepsi and Mountain Dew. Yes, like the soda or the pop if you're from Michigan.
Yes.
Okay, my 1-minute snapshot. So I do diffuse optical spectroscopy of breast tissue, kind of in 2 domains. I develop imaging systems, and I do the data analysis and recovery of concentration of molecule. On that realm, I'm exploring what more information can we get specifically from broadband, because generally we recover 4 chromophores, which is oxyhemoglobin, deoxyhemoglobin, collagen, and lipids. However, we're formed of more than just that, and we can get a lot more information about breast tissue if we can look at those minor absorbers, especially to differentiate between benign and malignant lesions. So we've been exploring methemoglobin and collagen, and then it becomes tricky to recover because they entangle themselves with the other chromophores. So looking at how can we tailor the wavelength interval that we use in broadband to better recover those chromophores. On the side of technology development, I've been involved with developing the big benchtop systems, but more recently moving into implantable devices. So how can we miniaturize all of this technology, put it on a tiny, tiny little implant that can fit on a 12-gauge needle, so that we can do continuously monitoring of breast tumors with the goal of seeing whether or not, how that tumor is evolving and whether or not chemotherapy is working. Yeah.
Next time you do CrossFit, you should knit at the same time.
Oh, I don't.
Really make those people feel bad.
No, you see that, but you say that, but I was knitting before CrossFit, and you had to see all the people stop at me and be like, "What are you knitting?"
Okay, I think that's all the trainees. We also have a young whippersnapper, Vasan.
Hi. You know me by now, but you don't have to struggle with my last name. You can call me what my students call me, which is Professor B. My parents are from India originally. They immigrated to Canada before I was born. I was born in Montreal, but grew up mostly in the San Francisco Bay Area. As you kind of know already, I do a lot of modeling and computation. I have another part of my lab that's very experimental, and so we like to take pulses of light, putting them through microscopes and blowing up cells. And so we do a lot of work on kind of what's called pulse laser microgroup interactions with cells and tissues for cell manipulation and stimulation. Right now I got two young daughters, so most of my time is playing with them. I try to expose them to music. And I used to play a lot of tennis. Don't have time for that anymore, so I like watching tennis. What I hope to get out of the course is I just love interacting with you guys and finding out, you kind of get a good snapshot of the field. More so just talking with students rather than talking to your PIs at conferences, because you guys are telling me what's going to happen in 2, 3, 4 years down the line. So that's fun. I love research, but obviously I really value education, and that's motivated myself and Bernard to offer this. And I've also been a department chair now for over 10 years. So I'm in chemical and biomolecular engineering. In fact, me and my wife love to garden, and so we've got tons of fruit trees in our very small yard. And last year we had a bumper crop, so every day I would bring like 50 pieces of fruit to the course. This year has not been as successful, but I have some. I bring. Next. Oh yeah, this is packed. So for the research, for the experimental part of my lab, I'm very interested working with Elliot Botmanick, who's also a colleague of ours at the BLI. We're very interested in understanding how cells sense and respond to their mechanical microenvironment. And so we're using pulses of light First, to stimulate cellular mechanosignaling, we've actually shown how we can use light to actually probe the activity of mechanosignaling pathways, and also use microexplosions to actually look at local tissue mechanical properties, because that influences how cells respond to their microenvironment. And then we're integrating phlegm into that system to look simultaneously at metabolism. So things like in cancer metastasis, there's an interplay between cells responding to their mechanical microenvironment, changes in metabolism, and mechanosignaling. And so we're hoping to develop a platform that we can do all of that on one platform. We're also, our group's very interested in modeling like transport. So we work with others who are doing measurements in the clinic to look at how we can really understand the underlying physiology of what's going on from a computational perspective. And then also maybe an aspect that's underappreciated is that if you are able to develop robust Monte Carlo models of instrumentation, you can actually drive the design of the instrumentation to be optimally sensitive and specific to what you're looking at. So I won't get into the details. A couple of things we're looking at are where Darren Robler at Boston University, we're doing modeling of SFDI measurements in looking at scleroderma. And we also have a collaboration with Intuitive Surgical, which is a company that makes these endoscopic surgical devices to, actually Carol and I are working on developing Monte Carlo models for fluorescence imaging for surgical guidance. So, we love the applications, but what I really like is this integration between modeling and experiment. So that's me. Thanks.
Last and certainly least is just quick.
Oh, also I'm a mechanical engineer by training, so there's someone else.
Okay, so I'm from Chicago originally, so and it's really what I'm most interested in is biophotonics, but on the translational side. So we do some basic science work, or developmental work in the laboratory. But a lot of the stuff we do is, I've learned to just kind of just sit and listen, especially to very bright clinicians, very bright scientists who have problems, and try to figure out, whether it's specifically with our technology or if it's a combination of technologies. So just try to figure out what sort of team would make most sense to work with that specific clinician or biologist, and then we have at it. I'm also extremely interested in engineering education as well. I like to bike. Bike before COVID, through COVID, and I still bike a fair amount right now. I love skiing. It's growing up in Chicago. I guess the people that live in Chicago is very flat. And you put a marble on the ground, it's not going to move. And so, I grew up skiing on the worst slopes possible in southern Wisconsin. Just pure, the Black Diamond, you could see the bottom, pure ice, just horrendous. Moguls just pop up every once in a while, just randomly. It's horrible. So, living in California, we have ski resorts that from here an hour away up to Mammoth is about 5.5 hours away, and it's a dream. And I love playing and watching sports as well. I also really love music. That's one thing I didn't put here. And something. So I was thinking about this, and the one thing it's kind of a weird thing is I can add lists. If you give me a whole bunch of two-digit numbers, I can add them really fast. It's something that was born from. I think I'm a big baseball fan growing up, and I really love the numbers in baseball. And a lot of the numbers just happen to be two-digit numbers, so I'll just kind of add them up, and that's just what developed.
47, 36, 53.
136. Now you get to check me on that. Right? That's people do that all the time, and they're like, I don't know the answer. So in terms of research, so what we do is we develop optical technologies and methodologies largely to study the microcirculation. So that's where a lot of normal physiology, where you can do a lot of studies there, oxygen delivery, of basic waste uptake into the vessels, as well as where a lot of things start going wrong. A lot of it starts at the microvascular level. And so, a couple projects that we're working on right now, they're kind of the key problems are looking at blood flow, looking at the vascular structure in the brain, in the context of neurodegenerative disease, and then also looking at it from what can we do with biophotonics in terms of critical care. And so we use speckle imaging, we develop and use speckle imaging in lots of different form factors. Spatial frequency domain imaging, which you'll hear about more next week. That's something we built systems. We don't really develop it so much as we're more end users. And then we do a lot of optical clearing, so the use of chemical-based approaches to make tissues transparent. So we pair a lot of the in vivo imaging, then we take out tissues and then we look at it from a three-dimensional perspective. So we try to really match up the microvascular, some of the mesoscopic imaging that we develop. And in terms of, we work with lots of different clinicians and scientists, and so currently we're working a lot on Alzheimer's disease and related disorders. So a lot of diseases in which blood-brain barrier is compromised. We're looking at a lot of the heart-brain axis, so hypertension, looking at how that affects the brain, critical care. Ezekiel mentioned about the tissue engineering, the GRAPH project. We're doing some work now on maternal care and health disparities as well. And so just talking about a current project, this is one I think it's kind of a fun one, is we were approached by a company in Cambridge, and they basically, we got a DARPA award to look at, we're working on basically integrating a speckle imaging system for use on a robot that can go around and do mass casualty triage, like basically triage, get people's vital signs, are they alive, are they dead? And it's taking the technology where you turn the lights off in the room and it's on an optical table, it's floating and stuff like that, and then putting it in that sort of real world context has just been completely eye-opening to just some of the things that you never think about, how it affects your imaging approach, and especially on an autonomous robot it's kind of neat. It's kind of a weird thing. And like I mentioned, we do a lot of collaboration. So almost every project we have has a collaborator. That's in a different field. That's where I think a lot of the really cool stuff comes out. In terms of personal motivation, so one of the things when I talk to undergrads, and one of the questions that will come up oftentimes is how did you get into what you're doing now? And so my freshman year in college, I took an introduction to biomedical engineering class, and they bring in guest lecturers toward the end. And one of them talked about laser eye surgery, and so it was the predecessor to LASIK. And I have with contact. I went to the optometrist yesterday, so I can say with all confidence. I said with contact lenses is 2015. Without them, it's like 20 gazillion. I think my focus is like right here. And so I didn't know with light, you could use light to do something that's so precise surgically. Like I just, at the time, I just thought, use lasers and blow things up, and that's about it. And so that's really how I got into the field. And then, especially with Alzheimer's disease research, my mom passed away from complications associated with Alzheimer's disease, and it was just an absolutely horrendous process to watch unfold. And so that's really, I think, driving a lot of Alzheimer's disease research that we do. So that's me. I think we have time for a 10-minute break?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I think y'all have been very patient. And we will 10:35. 10:35. All right.
Hi, seems like have I seen you before? You're quite familiar to me.
I quite literally
Yeah.
deleted. I was at the airport doing the
Yes,
slides, and then I clicked delete and submit, and then when everybody's second slide started appearing, I'm like, oh no, yes.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I know. Yeah, the
I
big
can do
professor,
a 1 minute
right?
snapshot with
Oh, yeah,
words
that's why
without
you're
words.
familiar to me. Yeah, from GIS. Yes, and also him.
That wrong. Correct. Yeah, I think there are a couple incorrect.
I work together.
We'll get that fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, people remember you as the person that had
So
had to cross it out. Yeah, exactly.
So one thing, every time they change it, yeah,
It's fun. Like that, they took it out, and it was
Dasan building in the
I mean, they said a speckle part looked actually quite well, but other parts of it was like more some of the other parts of the robot were.
Yeah, my buddy and I, that's what we did with our little company thing. We try to attach the laser speckle onto the